Well, hello everyone, and I've chosen this music for this video mainly because I still think I'm going to be right this month and that we are going to see an FF15 event. So what is this video? Well, it's my top 9 STMRs, in my opinion. Now, you are absolutely welcome to disagree with me, and let me talk a little bit about what I think is important about this list. First of all, I think it's important to note that I'm not just basing this on power creep. I understand that Cloud's dual-hand 180 attack greatsword is a fantastic thing. Thing is that most of those feel pretty power creepy to me, so I am not going to consider them as highly, though all the STMRs are pretty damn great, so don't feel bad about what you got, I don't feel bad about what I got, and let's just talk about what I think are the best units. But first, quick two honorable mentions, which would almost make this a top 11 list, but this screen didn't allow for that much room. And these videos, I just don't have too much time tonight, so let's get it done. First of all, nope, that's the wrong one. There it is. I want to actually talk about this one first. So this is an 80 attack magic when equipped with a rod and recover 5% per turn. Now, first of all, magic rods are a big deal. It is the most common magic enhancing item in the game, and a lot of people just use rods because some of them have the highest magic stats in the game, and there are a lot of masteries for it. The reason why I didn't put this too much higher is because even though it is an impressively high number, and that one that a lot of mages can use, some of the 7-star kits have been very much forcing units to equip certain things. So while I do think that the rods, for instance, are very good, I had a hard time giving this a higher ranking just because, how to put this nicely, it's still a little bit held, but 80% magic is huge. So next up is Preach, and that image was actually supposed to be a little bit over, but it's okay, we'll find it. But let's talk about Preach. Preach is the God Hand. As I talked about in my last video, it is a 171 attack fist with an ability attached to it, which is why I actually placed it higher on the list than all the great swords and swords that we have seen in this STMR bag. A 300% ignore, 50% defense, so basically a 600% attack, with minusing elemental resistance of fire, wind, water, and earth resistance for 3 turns, and 100% disease for 60 MP. That's a pretty handy little ability, especially because I know there is a 10-man trial challenge that Disease is very good on him. So Disease actually seems pretty useful, and in general, just when we look at some of the raises in attacks on equipment, greatswords were already in a good place before 174 and 180 attack came along. And now we're seeing, but fists, other than the Algerian one, trial weapon, there wasn't too much equipment, so it's really nice to see a high attack fist, especially because we know Tifa's coming in the future. So that's pretty much my reasoning why I ended up choosing her for the position that she got. Again, you don't have to agree. Next up is Loon Era. Of course Loon Era was going to end up on this list. Are you kidding me? She's one of my favorite units, and I actually think that her Super TMR is pretty damn good. It is a 100% damage to demons and plus 30 dark resistance materia. Killers are a big deal. Always choose killers over stats. Demons also tend to show up fairly regularly in trials and 10-man challenges recently, so 100% extra damage to them is insane. There is hardly a killer I can think of that really comes close to matching this one in terms of power. So the extra 30% dark defense on it too is just an extra nice little bonus. I mean, seriously, I absolutely really like this TMR. As a materia, 100% killer is a lot of extra damage. I think that's all that really needs to be said about it. Next up is Mercenary Ramza. Kind of a surprise considering that I still wasn't particularly impressed. It seems like a lot of other people were impressed, but I wasn't too big on him. But his, and let's just make that a little bit bigger, I'm not quite happy with the size on that, is a 92 defense, 84 spirit shield with an extra 20% to defense and an extra 20% to spirit. This shield is incredible. The only other one that I really truly love in the game is probably Bosch's shield. Bosch has a wonderful shield with actual evasion to it, which is why I rate it so high. But for raw stats, this shield is insane, and it gives a small bonus. The most important thing to anyone who's using a shield, which is basically your magic tank or your physical tank, is that you get as high a defense and highest spirit as possible, and this shield is fantastic for that. I absolutely love this shield to death. Kind of wish I actually had some extra Mercenary Ramzas kicking around, because, yeah, good shield is good shield. Let's size that back down before we bring in our next one. Nope, no, that's a blank image. There we go. Next up is Rinoa, my personal favorite unit in the game still. And yes, maybe my bias put her on the list, but let's talk about her Super TMR. Her Super TMR is really quite good. Actually, it's fantastic. It's 100% resistance to all status ailments, as well as a 50% resistance to charm at the start of battle, which, an extra 50% against charm. Charm resistance is hard to come by. And 60% resistance to fire, ice, lightning, and wind damage. This is just a better ailment resistance. We've seen a few. We've seen a materia. We've seen a hat with CG Fina. Sorry, kind of forgot about that. And of course there's Ribbon. And all of them are good. They are all status ailments, but none of them actually give charm resistance. And charm is something that's starting to show up more. So being able to protect your units just a little bit better is great news. But that's just the start. Why not an extra 60% resistance to multiple elements? This item is great for arena. This item is great for challenges. It's great on healers. And in general, I absolutely just love this Super TMR. This is better resistance against status ailments, and status ailments can be a big problem. Next up, TransTara. TransTara is a fantastic TMR, and some of you may be wondering or thinking, oh, her Super TMR is not good at all. What are you talking about? I disagree. It's an accessory, 3 defense, 3 spirit, and a 33% increase to MP, and a 50% MP cost reduction. Now, if you know anything about the game recently in Japan, a lot of the cooldown units and cooldown abilities, as well as some other just big attack abilities are using a ton of MP. Particularly TransTara. Her attacks are a massive amount when you're quadra casting them. A 50% MP reduction is big. There are a lot of ways to regenerate MP, but why not just cut the amount you need to use? TransTara's Super TMR does that, and it does it incredibly well. 50% is the highest, and it's the only MP reduction in the game, making this item super, super, super valuable. And to be honest, I really, really want it, but I also just want a 7-star TransTara too, so there you go. Next up is Aiko, and Aiko is, well, a lot of people I don't think are evaluating Aiko as properly as she can, and I think I've even done the math wrong on her. First of all, when we talk about her unit, she got a lot of extra summon damage from getting her TMR. Not only that, but when you stack materia on her, she gets even more summon damage, and she's basically sitting at about 150 to 160% on an optimal setup. 160% is a lot. So I question about how big of a deal this will be in the future. There it is. So, and it's really quite small, so let me just size it up so even I can read it. A 15% spirit, 15% HP, and 15% MP increase. All of those are fantastic. By the way, this is a materia. Those are all really great things for a healer to have. But wait, what's this? An extra 30% to summon damage? Keep in mind that summons are going nuts right now. Particularly the one I like to think of is Ramuh. Ramuh does a ton of damage when chained properly. And we are still getting a Bahamut 2-star at some point in the future, which will do God knows how much damage, and non-elemental. But the fact is that summoners are kind of underappreciated in the game. This will do a lot of extra damage, and this is ramping up summoners very, very, very quickly. At about a total of what I can think is about maybe 190% max that you could get out of extra summon damage. It really depends on how strong the summons become, but summoners are something to watch out for in the future. Like, really, really keep an eye on them. They might be potentially way better than most people are giving them credit for. Next up is Rem, and the one that hurts me the most that I only have 3 of her, not 4. Dear God, Rem has kind of become, is just a great, great, great unit. Rem is this unit that a lot of people just kind of passed off, and then when she got her 7-star, she got the best heal in the game, that she could dual cast, she got the best chain magic in the game, and she got a lot of extra magic power added to her. Well, now her super TMR is here, and it is... anyone who wants to run mages will want this super TMR. Let's size up this screen a little bit. 40% magic and 40% spirit on an accessory is great for stats. That's just the raw stats. And that's amazing. But now we also have auto regen, which casts a 60 HP heal with a 1.2 times mod per turn, which I'm not sure about 60 HP. Seems a little low, but I don't have it yet, so I can't confirm. But on top of that, this is an accessory, not a materia, gives an extra 40% to magic and an extra 40% to spirit. I know tons of units that could use this. TransTara, Loon Era, the list goes on. You could even add this to Lyra. That is a huge spirit boost that is not tied to a materia spot. I do think that this might be this is quite possibly, if not, to me, the best magic accessory in the game by far. And that's including TransTara, because that is a huge boost to stats. I really want to equip it to my Rinoa and just see the stat jump, because going from potentially just a small stat increase to extra magic and then an extra 40% is nuts. And I want my 4th. I will even use my first UOC ticket pull to get my 4th Rem. It is just so awesome. Speaking of underappreciated units, for the longest time, Queen has been the butt of all jokes, which is too bad because I think she's got a fantastic design. She's actually really cute with those glasses and that kind of confidence to her and the rapier. I like swords. Anyway, but Queen has always been the joke of the 5 stars. She has been the unit that everyone's like, I pulled another Queen, kill me. Well, then her 7-star came along and she became one of the most powerful units in the game. She is a beast on the Japanese side when you have her equipped properly with her TMR and everything. I think that Queen is just an amazing unit now. Well, I would argue that she got the best attack thing in the game. Well, at least attack accessory. First of all, 55 extra stats to attack is a lot for an accessory. And I do think it's a big enough jump to put it on this list, but it's the extra feature that it has on here, because you are going to put this on an attacker. And more importantly, you are going to put it on an attacker where you are just trying to maximize attack as much as possible, which means that unit will be fragile. So how could you possibly, what benefit could this give? Well, it gives you the chance, 100% chance to ignore one fatal attack when above HP of 1%. Now, it doesn't protect you from multiple attacks, but a big hit, this accessory is awesome. It's great for any unit in the future that has almost no HP. Queen has not only become just an incredibly powerful damage dealer on the side, and this works great with her because she gets her extra boosts from taking damage down to a percentage. Do you see? This is awesome. This item could be used on any unit in the game just to provide survivability. It could be put on a tank. It could be put on a healer. It could be put on a damage dealer. It can be put on a mage. You won't necessarily get the most out of the accessory on every unit, but there is nothing like this in the game. There is nothing like this in the game. And that's really important to repeat because I think it's super important that you just appreciate how great Queen has become, and if you have been bad-mouthing her, shame on you. So let's recap real quickly before we hit the number 1 on my list. First of all, the honorable mention, Shantoto 2.0. I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video, but it's a great super TMR. Number 9, Preesh. Great fist, potential for a lot of use in the future, not just for her, but a ton of other units. She already a great TMR. Just a fantastic package deal in Preesh. Loon Era. Amazing chainer, 7-star. She has become a bigger beast, and her TMR is super valuable because killers are always going to be useful, but because it's only demon, we have to give it a little bit of a knock. Goes down a little bit more down on the list just because it's only demons. But extra dark resistance is nice too, and demons love using dark. Next up is Mercenary Ramza. Mercenary Ramza has a 92 defense and has just an awesome shield. This shield is used for any tank in the game. It is first place by far, second only to, or Bosch is just right below it because of that evasion, which is super nice for evade units. But for tanks, this is incredible. This is an awesome shield and one that I would really like. The only downside is that with no element resistance, it can't provide a little bit of extra protection against the elements. Other than that, it might even be higher on this list. Rinoa. It's just a better ribbon. It's just a better ribbon in almost every way it could be. The only way it could be more broken is if it covered all elements, as well as instant death. Then this thing would just be, and stop. If it covered stop, it would probably be top on the list. But it's not, so it's a little bit lower. TransTara, where are we at? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Fifth place on the list, TransTara. For the MP reduction, can be used for pretty much any unit in the game. Makes MP regeneration less of a need. It can be used on any unit in the game. Fantastic. Moving on. Fourth place, Aiko. Summoners are not in the meta right now, but they will be in the future, and for a while we were relying on Bahamut to kill enemies and get us those rewards. The Summoner's time is coming very, 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 very soon. By the way, I have enough trust Moogles to get her TMR finally. I'm gonna get a Super Summoner going. Third place, Rem. Just the best mage accessory in the game. Raw stats are important, but percentages always end up counting for more. This doesn't take up a materia slot, and it can be used on Lyra for a massive bonus. Enough said. Second place, just coming just under, and this took place over Rem mainly because, well, let's face it, mages are not as much in the meta as physical attackers. Physical attackers are far, far, far more everywhere. Just everywhere. Everybody uses a physical attacker. Pretty much all of your friends list are physical attackers. Which is why this accessory is so damn good, but it's the fact that this accessory can go on anybody and be incredibly useful. Just phenomenally useful. This is such a massive boost to any unit being able to survive a huge attack. It can be the difference between winning and losing. And I think that it is just, it's super valuable on a tank, it's super valuable on a, it's just valuable on everyone. Alright, so the number one, the most valuable Super TMR, in my opinion. Feel free to just be mad at me. Squall, oh yes. Squall becomes in at number one, and some of you are wondering, what the why in the holy, 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 holy is Squall number one? That's why. Squall's materia takes up a materia slot. It takes away from attackers' raw attack power. It will stop you from getting those incredibly high numbers that we all like showing off on our friends list. I know I do. Speaking of which, oh, look at that. My expedition's back. I should actually finish that real quick. 2 minutes while I explain, or 2 minutes before I explain my reasoning. Oh, I got a fantastic success. Good for getting summon enhancement stones. Yes, yes. And done. Okay. So this takes away a materia slot. So why is it rated so good? Well, it's all about the limit burst damage. A 1.5 times increase to limit burst damage is massive in this point in the game. And it's particularly because of 1, well, 2, 3 units. There are a lot, every unit has a limit burst, and some of the limit bursts are going nuts right now. Squalls is a very powerful limit burst himself. Sakura was a massive limit burst. Loon Era got a massive limit burst increase in damage. Every unit going up to a 7-star has had a huge burst to limit burst damage. And that huge burst in percentage, when added with this, is quite possibly going to break records. We may see some massive things in the future, because a multiplier is always way bigger than stats and way bigger than a percentage. Multiple of these on any unit could be potentially just there might be no trial that could actually stand up to these. But more importantly, it's on one specific unit, and it's the unit whose limit burst does a stupid amount of damage, and that's Cloud. Cloud is insane. His limit burst is by far the most powerful in the entire game, and it's going to get even better now. Multiple Squalls, if you can somehow get 2 of these Super TMRs on a Cloud, the damage could go into the stratosphere. I believe the rough calculation by most people is a limit burst with approximately 5,000%. And who knows, with killers that might get even better. It's going to take a little bit of time, I don't know, maybe the super whales can do this really, really well. But it is Squall's Super TMR that probably could break the game open a lot more. Especially because Alum has said they want Limit Burst to be much bigger in the game. Well, congratulations, you might have done it. Any future unit that has a Limit Burst that is just too big and Alum doesn't remember that they actually made this, well, this could just spiral out of control. So yeah, Squall, he gets the #1 spot, in my opinion, because I could see the most coming out of his. But all of the Super TMRs are pretty fantastic in their own right. So if you're lucky enough to have a Super TMR, go enjoy, play around, put that as your friend unit, so that all of us can bask in the glory of the 7-star Super TMR combination. And it will only get crazier in the future. We're seeing this power spike now. Something tells me next year we're going to see a lot more difficult trials. Anyway, that's everything for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. I hope you enjoyed the relaxing music. And I will see you all in the next video, whatever that is. It's not going to be a pull video. I haven't had any luck, and neither has Mog recently.